Namaste, this is Das, and welcome to the Why Hold On series. And the previous dialogue, we looked at the mechanism of hope, and we left at examining that what is hope truly protecting. And if you would examine it careful enough, you will see that hope is protecting that fear that emerges in us and stays. Fear is a beautiful mechanism in us. It emerges, it is a messenger. It's not the problem. Fear is not at all the problem. It is just a messenger. But we just skip to examine that what is the message about. We just look at fear and we look at it as two pathways. That one, we can take the action, the other, we are just fearful. So, yes, those can be the byproducts. However, fear is just a predicted future, which is the scary version, which we don't like. But if you examine carefully, fear will truly reveal to you what are you so fixated on? What is it? See, we can see fear in a normal day-to-day life. You can be doing a job and someone says, "Oh, there is changes happening in the company, and this department may not be there, or you may not be there," and the fear arises. I may not have this job. The first question is, you think the fear is about the job, but do you really care about it? Since you were a kid, is that what you were wanting to do? And are you telling me that nobody else, no other company in the world will give you the same job? Not at all. So fear is truly revealing that it's not the job that we are fearful of. It is rather what the job offers you. It could be freedom, financial freedom, paying your bills, your responsibilities, your comfort, your luxuries, your skill set. You might have the fear of retraining your brain, meeting new people, going into a new location to do the job, all that stuff. Then you can examine each area. What is it and why it is? You can keep repeating the same loop until you truly can see that it is your psychological fixation on that endpoint. It is nothing else. I'm not saying it is right or wrong. So please don't examine it from the right and wrong perspective. It is truly, we are just observing how far we can go deeper to see what is the true fixation. Same about a relationship. A lot of people can say, I hate being single. I don't want to travel single. I don't want to end up alone. I love talking to someone. I love the companionship, the intimacy. There has to be someone, all those things. But if they go deep enough, they will truly be able to see that deep down, they are fearful of being with themselves. Deep down, they are fearful of going inwards. Deep down, they don't want to see who they are. Deep down, they don't want to embrace who they are. Said that, I'm not saying relationships are bad. They're beautiful experiences. So is a job, so is a career, so is a business, and so is a relationship. But the true question is, where is the fixation? Because fear comes out of that fixation. Fear doesn't come just because you're interested in something, not at all. You could be interested in, let's say, exploring a cafe. You're not fearful if it is closed. You are interested to go to a different destination, a different country. You're not fearful. You're interested, because when you are only interested in an experience or in an outcome or in an idea, exploration is there. But fearful means the conclusion has been made that this is it. That's what we want. It has nothing to do with exploration. So this is very important to see how fear arises. And it's always arises in the now, but it's always about a future. Fear is not right now. It's always about something that you believe in the future. You can try it. You can't have fear about a past thing, even though you are thinking it may reappear, that circumstance may reappear, but that is in the future. Even if you think, I have experienced that version, that certain circumstance and event, yes, but that was a version of you. That version doesn't exist today, and that version of you will never exist again, because Your new capacities are going to develop, your new tolerances are going to develop. There's a new version of you already in production. You will have entirely new capabilities. So, whatever that may be in the future, it has nothing to do with what you have experienced before. So, it is purely your own projection. Again, don't observe right or wrong. We are only observing how fear spikes up. See, when you were 10-year-old, you perhaps had a toy which you were really scared, you were fearful, someone shouldn't take it away from you, you shouldn't lose it. If it breaks, what will happen? Now you may have still access to that toy and you can't care less. It may be important and precious to you as a memory, but you're not fearful. And if you are, perhaps you're still fixated on it. I don't know. That's just for us to examine. It's just an exercise we are doing. So when you were 10 years old, you couldn't predict the future forward that 20 years later you wouldn't care about this toy, because at that time your capacity was limiting you to only see what that toy means to you at that point in time. So from that, you can see that fear becomes very powerful because of two underlying points. One is our brain, our system starts believing it is real. We don't think it's imaginary, we think it's real. And the second part is, which is silent, which is we barely examine, it's always there, is that we feel that we are operating at the maximum capacity we ever will. This is our maximum potential that will ever be, because that's how you are contrasting the fear too. You have not yet explored the true version of yourself, and yet you are using fear as a mechanism to be fearful. It can emerge, but how long it stays is really for how long you believe in those two factors, that it is real and this is your maximum potential. Otherwise, what is the point of being fearful? It can emerge and you can say, oh, yeah, okay, what are the other alternatives? What are the other possibilities? But instead, we only look at one possibility that we are fixated on. We don't look at all the possibilities. We only look at one possibility, which is this is who I am, this is where I'm concluding myself, and this is my maximum potential, and this fear is real. So, and you can also say that if you look backwards, that 20 years ago, there was things which you were perhaps fearful of, maybe public speaking, maybe a relationship, maybe running a large business, maybe running a family, maybe uh, looking after kids, anything possible. And that fear doesn't exist in the now. That fear existed in the past because at that point you were not aware of this version of you. So, see, it unlocks that potential if you let it go. You don't have to hold on to it. And fear itself clearly demonstrates that we have a psychosis where we are living in this projected reality. What is psychosis? Psychosis is an imagined reality which has nothing to do with your current reality. Imagined. It's a future which you are imagining. And why I say you are imagining? Because it is a very individual perspective. Again, we are not looking at right or wrong. We are not looking at natural or artificial or why. No, we are just saying it is an individual perspective. People can be fearful about pandemic. Maybe 98% people fearful about pandemic, but still individual. People can be fearful about a job, about a business, about a relationship, about being alone, about traveling alone. An interesting part is two people. One can travel alone and be super fearful. Other one wants to travel alone because they are fearful that someone is going to waste my time doing activities which I don't care about. So fear is just your personal projected future, which you don't like. You don't want to get there. But you can't get out of that bind that it is a projected future. You are in the psychosis of constantly between now and the future, now and the future, now and the future. You can't get out of that jinx. So also fear can uh, be used as a propulsion mechanism. A lot of people who get fearful, they become so strong that they come out as the strongest potential ever be. They say, I'm never going to get to that point again. So yes, fear can be absolutely your fuel for success. But the real question is it required? Is it mandatory for your success? No, it is not. It is a choice. Yes, if you are in that point, fear can absolutely work for you. But if you're already driven, if you're action oriented, what value has fear got to do with you? Anything? No, it has no place to be. So, an emerging of fear is natural. So, fear itself is no problem. But when we believe fear is real and we start keeping it like our personal pet, like a dog or a cat, and we start feeding it, what it does is it starts rehearsing in our brain and it starts replaying. And fear starts magnifying like a shadow in the night. But by the morning, that shadow is gone. So it just magnifies. And the more time it repeats, it's like a really good actor. The more an actor has enriched in their practice, in their training, in that intensity, when you see their movie, you believe it is so real. But if you truly believe it is that real, then you will have a psychosis. So the mechanism of fear, if it replays long enough, what it does is you may stop taking action at all because now you are living a fearful life. Fear of anything at all, anything at all. Event can still happen, but what it means to you is where the fear is. And fear has nothing to do with outcome. Action has, but fear has nothing to do with outcome. So by being fearful or fearless, you're not going to change the action. And we are not discussing how to become fearless, not at all. What we are observing is that if fear is there, what we can truly use that opportunity is to look deeply that where are we fixated on? That is the true inquiry. That if you are fearful, what is it that is underlying which we feel that it is so important that we can't lose it? So, so I leave this question with you today that if you can examine what possibilities are you holding on which are making you feel fearful, because at the end of the day, there is infinite possibilities and you have limited to some. And the question is, what are you fixated on? So I leave this inquiry with you. This is Das. Namaste. Have a great day. Have a great week ahead until we meet in our next dialogue. Thank you. Bye bye.